Hello, hi. Actually, I thought of concluding this uh, Bechukoisai uh, Torah portion, but there's a lot of other things that I would like to inform to you guys. So bear with me as I go through all these informations. Leviticus chapter 26, verse from 42. I shall remember the covenant I made with Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham. And if you follow my statutes or the commandments, I will give you the rain in timely manner, and I will bless the nation forever, so that you can dwell in there peacefully in that land. These are the words of God that He was promising in the book of Leviticus, at the end of the book of Leviticus. You know, it talks about the blessings of the nation. It talks about the blessings of the nation because he made the covenant with the forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But if you read that portion, it has a reverse order. It starts with Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham. Why? Why the order is reversed? Usually it is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? But this is kind of a reverse order. And one more thing I want to tell you guys. Some of the information that I brought to you guys from oral Torah and also from verbal Torah. The reason I'm doing this oral Torah and the verbal Torah is to get the concept, to get the idea, so that that it will be more benefitable for our understanding of the book of the Bible, so that we can definitely get the more meaning out of this book. That's the only reason that I use oral Torah and verbal Torah. Do not ever get surprised if I say something which is not in the Bible. Brother, it is not in the Bible. Why you are teaching which is not in the Bible? But Jewish, this is truly based on Hebrew and truly based on the Jewish people thing. So whatever the Jewish people follows, and I'm bringing it to you guys so that you can understand, what I'm talking about. Okay, so what happened? So why Jacob is given first preference, and then Isaac, and then Abraham, rather than Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? And also in the Hebrew readings, this name Jacob has got an extra vowel. Remember, Hebrew words are gematриas. Gematria meaning each and every Hebrew letter has a number attached to that one. Every single letter. There are 22 alphabets in the Hebrew book, in the Hebrew language. So each and every letter has a number attached to that one. So uh, it has been presented, it has been represented in different areas in different ways. So here when they talked about Yaakov, there is a different representation of Yaakov. It has got a one more vowel, yav or vav attached to this name. Why? And also it has been attached like 5 times in the book of the Hebrew book. I'm talking about, not in the Bible of what we are looking into, the English Bible or anything. So I'm talking about the Hebrew book. So 5 times it's been mentioned about the Yaakov, which has the extra vowel included in his name. When the Torah was read, usually when the Torah is read, there is a reader who reads the Torah. This is the end of the final days. This is the end of the Leviticus chapter. When the reader reads the Torah of the end of the final thing, after reading the Torah portion, what happens is that the reader says, Kazak, Kazak, Venice Kazik. Kazak, Kazak, Venice Kazik mean be strengthened, and strengthen yourself. So after reading this Torah, you should be strengthened out. You should be powerful. You should be more, courageous. So strengthen, and be, strengthen yourself. Most of the times we talk about the blessings of the Bible. Every time it's about the blessing. But how about curses? Why no one talks about the cursing? Why no one says anything about the cursing? Why not? Because the Torah is equally given the opportunity of the blessings and the cursings. In fact, the cursing, blessings come out of the cursings. Because to turn the cursings into blessings is the reading of the Bible. That's the ultimate design of this one. You know, in this Torah portion, Bechukoisai, in this Torah portion, there are about 49 curses. If you follow, if you listen, if you observe my statutes and my commands, as I promised to your forefathers or sages of the olden days, Jacob, Isaac, or Isaac, and Abraham, I will bless you. But if you fail to follow or if you fail to observe my commandments, there are 49 curses listed in the book. Folks, we need to know this one. We definitely need to know this. Curses has to be talking about. So, why Jacob has been listed first? Okay, there are two ways that we can look at it. Is it looking as a greater value or looking as a first value? Abraham was, when he was living in his world, the world was full of polytheistic God, meaning multiple gods were already been established. But Abraham was only one person who was believing in the monotheistic God, which is a God by himself, one God. So he was trying to argue with the people. He was trying to tell to the people, and when he went to Egypt, when he was in Jerusalem or he was in Canaan, he was arguing with the people. Have we ever heard about Nimrod? Do you know who is Nimrod? Nimrod, if you read Genesis chapter, I believe, 10th or 11th chapter, I believe. So Nimrod is a one king that who built the Tower of Babel. The Bible talks about Nimrod that he was so mighty, he became so mighty, and he could able to take some of the land in those times. So he built the Babel Tower, and also he made Abraham to bow to him. Abraham refused. You may not find these things in the Bible, but it's in the Hebrew thing. I'm just giving you just what the concept says. Abraham refused to bow, and then he was put into fire. But by God's grace, Abraham walked out of the fire. Abraham was so perfect or so keen in observing or in obeying to God, in listening to God. Abraham, was absolutely following the Torah. Basically, he was following complete Torah. Like he was circumcised on, Abraham was circumcised, and then also Isaac was circumcised on 8th day, and he was teaching the Isaac. So Abraham went all the way through. The whole world was filled with polytheistic gods. He believed in one God and he followed the God and he observed all the Torah portion. I will talk about the Torah a little bit later once I complete this one. The next comes Isaac. Isaac is Isaac. Isaac was put into the altar, sacrificial altar, to be slaughtered by his own father. But Isaac thought it was a privilege to die in the hands of his own father. You know why? Because Isaac had a teacher, that is his father. So that was his father. So Isaac had a teacher to train him, to teach him all the Torah portions, all the Torahs, and all about the God. So he understood very clearly, and he thought that it is a big privilege for him to die in the altar. So he went along with Abraham. So Abraham's action was much more bigger than Isaac. Isaac's action was much more bigger because much more opportunity for him to learn everything. He had a teacher, but Abraham never had a teacher. And he's only God. So he trusted and he tried to learn and tried to walk in the ways how the Torah teaches. The third comes in the Isaac, Jacob. He served 20 years with Laban, and also he went to Egypt, and he served, I mean, he was there for 17 years. He struggled a lot in his lifetime, a lot. He suffered a lot in his lifetime. But he had two teachers. One was his father, and one other one was his grandfather. So he could able to learn more about God, more about God's perspective, and more about the God's strength. So Jacob had the two teachers for him to teach to walk in the Torah. So he was more privileged to walk in the Torah, to walk what the Torah talks about, how the Torah was interpreted. So these Torahs were not even existed at the time. Torah came after Moses, but even before the Torah was established in this world, Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham was observing and following exactly how the Torah would have been told. Isn't it amazing? That's why God, you know, greatly appreciated them. That's why whenever He blessed, whenever He made the covenant, He said that I made covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why they are the greatest people of the biblical heroes. That's why Jacob become, because he know how to exile from Egypt to Canaan. You all remember when Jacob was fighting with one of the last messenger. It was God Himself was there. Jacob was fighting. So God Himself, came as Elijah's, type of a thing. He was an harbinger, was fighting with them. In that time, that what they tell is, that's how Jacob got the extra vowel, because when God was, wrestling with him, Jacob told him that, what, we need to exile from this country. We have to go from here to the land. Promise me that you will be taking us out of this. If you don't, if you promise me, then and I will take the vowel from you and I'm going to use to my name, so that your promise is attached with me. That's what the Hebrew, translations, but it is really a good one to understand. So that's why Yaakov had an extra vowel or extra, additional letter for his in this period only. So it was having five times it was been told in the book of Leviticus or in the Old Torah. His name was spelled in such a way that five times in the Hebrew book, not in here. So five times Vev means the number to Vev is 6. So 5 times 6 is 30. And this 5, the rabbi explains that the 5 Vev or 5 times Vev were told is represented by the 5 fingers. Because the alphabet Vev is being like a finger, straight finger. So 5 times into 6, the gematria of number 6 is 30. The hand has 30 bones. What is the bottom line principle is that he shook hand with Elijah, or God Himself wrestled him, and make sure that he and his generation will be exiling out of Egypt. That was a promise that he got from them. So also the Bible talks about 5 attributes or of the God. When you open the book of Isaiah chapter 52, I think the words, I believe it's 13, I believe. Yeah. When you open the book of Isaiah, verse 13, yeah, it's 13, says that, 5 great qualities of God. Number 1 is, He shall prosper. Number 2, He should be exalted. Number 3, He should be lifted up. And 4th, He should be high. He was high. And number 5 is He was being, worshipped as very high. So 5 great qualities of God was, exactly represented about the, the number of gematria of the 5. So why I'm telling this one? Because Jacob fought with this Messiah to exile him from his. Jacob fought with this Messiah to exile him from here, ultimately to move out for the Egypt. That is the same thing, because we are also in a period of exile. We are also in a period of world that we are going to go to another world, to another place. That is our permanent place. This is some temporary. We need to exile. But in order for us to exile, that's what Bible says it. Follow, be like Jacob, be like Jacob, meaning that the Hebrew Bible says that Jacob was studying Torah in the tents, sitting down the whole day. He used to study the Torah all the time, waiting in the tent on the out on the desert land. So follow like Jacob or Jacob, so that we can also exile from this sinful land to the eternal place. But follow Jacob, meaning read the Torah every single day, and the whole day start reading the Torah book or the Bible. That's the concept of this Torah portion. Bottom line is that one. You know, um, so Jacob, was the one of the ideal person, that is the greatest person of these three, because he read Torah in the desert land all his life, sitting in the tent. Folks, I'll tell you, repeatedly I'll tell you, there are curses and there are blessings. No Christianity, never they talk about curses, because they believe in one thing, that every situation has been resolved by Jesus Christ. We are all saved by grace, and no more blessing, no more cursing. Everything is blessings. There was a story. It was told in the Egypt, in one of the in Hebrew. One time, these Torah books were read in the temple of Hebrew temple. So when the reader was reading the last portion of it, when the reader was reading the curses, he was reading it very slow, very mild, and very in a slow voice. When he was reading the other verses, he would make his voice bigger. So one of the other rabbi who was sitting there, he was shouting and yelling at him, and he told him, "Read it loudly, read it loudly," and the whole congregation will become silent. Again, the reader will read it. Again, he will read it in a very slow pace. Again, this rabbi was shouting, "Read it loud, read it loud." Why he asked to read loud, to read these curses in a loud voice? He said that we already suffered all the curses already, because Jewish people went through a lot of cursings. They were, killed tremendously. They there was killings of the crusades killing, and there was um, the other one called inquisitions by the Spanish people, and the crusades were done by the Christian people to kill the Jewish. Holocaust happened. There was a lot of killing, a lot of persecutions. Jewish nation went through a lot of cursings, a lot of punishments in their life. Now for us, we don't have to go through all those things. No more, death by sword, or no more death by fire like Isaac, or no more death by the persecution by Jewish people. It's so easy that God has given an opportunity, Jesus has given an opportunity, to read the book, to read the Bible, to read all these laws and statutes, and understand this one, and get closer to God, and so that we can exile this world, sinful world, in a better way, to the eternal side. Folks, this Bechukoisai is about the statutes, about the laws. Repeatedly I tell, one more time I'll tell repeatedly. Nobody talks about the curses anymore in this world. There are curses. If you don't read this, if you don't observe this, if you don't do this one, there are curses. I already kept on telling to you, I have told enough of Torah. I have told enough of all the statutes and laws. I don't have to. The nutshell portions, what you're receiving, what you're learning, and what you're at least hearing from me. I'm not proud of it, but at least I have a satisfaction. I'm letting this out to you because like yesterday we saw, I'm lighting the candle something so that it can get burned. So at least I am there to tell this one. I'm so glad in this one. That's why I'm doing it. So the Torah or the studying of this one, you know, we have to see that one. If we don't do this one every single day, definitely we will be facing the consequences. The curses will come upon comes upon to us. No preacher or no evangelical pastors or no one talks about the curses. Everybody talks about the blessings. Brother, sister, it's easy, like, God will bless you. God will give you a good job. God will give you, bless you with a good visa to a good country. God will bless you with, the children. God will bless you with this. Everything is blessings. No one talks. No one condemns the people. Hey, if you don't study this one, you will be cursed. If you don't study this one, your generation will be cursed. Why Jacob was the first time he was been graded as much more better than Abraham, Isaac? Because Jacob studied the Torah every single day in the desert land, in the desert. Number one. Number two, his 12 kids were Jewish born kids, Jewish kids, and they were all practicing all the Torah. Not even Abraham had a one kid, Ishmael, he was not practicing the Torah. Understand? So Yaakov was, God recognized this one. And he goes like, I made the covenant with Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham, not the Abraham, Isaac, and Abraham. So Jacob was the greatest among three in this manner, in this category. So God puts him first when he was addressing. So it is also an instruction for us, follow Jacob. Do what Jacob did. Jacob was praying, Jacob was reading the Torah and observing the Torah when he was there. All I'm asking you is the one that observe the Torah, read the commandments, go and find out, what all the commandments are written. 613 commandments. We need to follow that one. I'm not asking again and again and repeat. It is not sacrificial because even Jewish people are not doing any sacrifices because there is no temple right now. Those practices have been stopped a long time back ago. So right now we have to do is read the Bible, connect it together, connect the Old Testament and the New Testament. There is nothing separate. No. Jesus said that I came to fulfill the law. And he did fulfill the law. So as we are also going to do the same thing. So Bechukoisai, the status, the statutes, follow this one. Follow like Jacob. Until next time, until probably I might bring a new Torah or I might continue this Bechukoisai, I do not know. So until next time, have a blessed week and have a blessed day. Bye.